Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. And I apologize, there was no warning that I was running on time or anything. I've given Pam the day off, if you will. Yeah, she's got a whole pile of different things that she's juggling, so we're just gonna let her juggle that stuff. And I'm gonna keep this one a little bit shorter. I'm gonna try. Anyways, honestly, my last one I said the same thing. It was still half an hour. Seriously, I gotta work on that. So we all have things we have to work on. I have to work on actually being short when I say I'm going to be. Anyways, I am in rather great spirits here, simply because my baby girl is back from Japan. So I am doing as any proud mama would do, and I have to show off to you guys all the cool little things that she got me, because, you know, that's like the thing. So, first thing is, oh, hey Maria. So here you go. You get to see my trinkets and all this kind of fun stuff. So the first thing that my daughter brought me back from Japan is this pretty little necklace. It's kind of hard to see, but it's an amethyst gem. So it's very pretty. And then the other thing that she got me is this little charm bag. And it represents luck and success with money. Does my kid know me or what? And then this here is like a little keychain thing. And is it not so adorable? And the little tail wags. And it's like, I don't know, a little Pomeranian or something. But it's really soft. I really like it. It's so soft. Anyways. And the last thing that was for me was a tiger. I haven't been given a stuffed animal since I was a kid. I swear. This is just like the best. And then she also bought her and I a set of chopsticks as well, which I am not very good with, so we'll see how that goes. My mama, of course, had to ask whether or not she also got me a bib. Yeah, no, she didn't. So yeah, so my baby girl is back, and it's lovely to have her back. She had a wonderful time in Japan. It was a fantastic experience for her, and she worked really hard for it too. She paid for a huge chunk of, oh my goodness, Pam! Oh, Mom, I told everybody that I gave you the day off. Well, she managed. See, that's what phones are great for, right? So she can sneak in there, and that's so cool. Awesome. Yay. Yeah, so she had an awesome time, and she worked really hard to save up her money and pay for a huge chunk of it. So really proud of her for that. And yeah, she's back. And actually my son and his girlfriend are here as well. So I apologize if there's any background noise. On the last one, it got a little noisy because the house echoes a little bit down in the basement here. And when I went upstairs afterwards, they're like, oh my goodness, could you hear us? I'm like, it's okay, I already apologized. So there we go. So that's my exciting news, and totally not in any way, shape, or form work related. Go figure, right? But I am going to touch on one little topic, and I really am going to keep this brief. I was asked a question in my Penobscot Foundations group, the Getting Going Online, about, you know, what do I really need to know, and what sort of a time schedule am I looking at for things? So I'm working on this stuff, and I'd actually like some feedback from you guys, because the answer to that question is massively subjective, mainly because it's going to depend on a whole bunch of different variables around you personally. Excuse me. So some of the variables, it's going to depend on what pieces you already have. So some people have a website, and there's a wide range of where that might be at. Different people have got different areas of social media set up between Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or all this kind of stuff, and different types of content, and, you know, like there's just so many different pieces there, and there really is no right or wrong way to approach it all. So, you know, I am working on setting up a guided path that will take people from scratch right the way through in a specific order. I don't claim that it is the only order, or it's the right order versus a wrong order. It's not about that. It's really about, you just need to get started, and you need to do things, and there's a little bit of a logical sequence to stuff, but it's okay if you've done things in a different order, right? So that's going to be the first thing, is knowing from you guys where you're at. What do you already have? And then as far as the timeline, that is going to massively depend on what time you have available. So like if you're, say if you're working a daytime job and you're writing, and maybe you're writing multiple books or projects, and maybe you have kids and you have, right? Like it's really going to depend how much time you have available to do the things that need to get done, as to how long the whole process is going to take and what kind of a schedule you should put it on. So for some people, with their online presence in particular, and I'm really not going to try and organize the rest of your lives because, I struggle enough with my own, but, for some people, you could even just break it down and go, okay, I'm going to work on my online presence for like 15 minutes a day. And I'm not joking. If you've got the discipline to do that, you absolutely can make progress once you have that plan in place and you know what you're doing. Other people work better in batches. So it might be better to say, once a week, whatever day of the week that ends up being best for you, I'm going to put in a couple of hours or, 3 or 4 hours, it's whatever works for you. And then obviously the amount of time that you're able to put in is what will determine how long it's going to take. Now, the one thing that I really, really want to stress for everybody is, a couple things. One, don't feel like you have to do it all immediately. I know we're excited. I know we want everything done and we want it all happening and out there in the whole bit. But life happens, we're people, we have other things that we have to deal with. And you're just going to stress yourself out if you think, oh my goodness, I have to do all this now. You don't. Okay, one little piece at a time, and every time you get one piece done, you're that much further along. So give yourself, I said it before, I've said it in other lives, right? Give yourself permission to take the time. The other component is make sure that whatever you are doing is sustainable. And I am so guilty of this. When I first got started with my author website and my Facebook page and all this kind of stuff, I was a little over enthusiastic and I was posting daily. I'm sorry, I don't know very many true human beings who can sustain that. Not live. I mean, maybe if they are organized enough and they have planned it out far enough in advance and it's all automated, maybe. But wow, I fast learned that it was not sustainable for me. And even with the different schedules that I've got running, because I've been doing all this for quite a while. So I do have a website, I've got Facebook, I've got Instagram, and I've got Twitter, and I've got LinkedIn. I've also got Pinterest, but I will admit that LinkedIn and Pinterest are very much a piggyback sort of thing. I don't nurture them. I don't give them any personal attention per se. They get a copy of what somebody else gets, kind of a thing. So that's another way where you can at least be having those touch points without it consuming you. But when I first started, especially with Instagram's a really great example where you get into a routine. And so I was posting daily on Instagram. And that's not so much of a big deal in itself on Instagram. It wasn't the posting that was necessarily difficult, but it was the type of post that I was doing. So I thought I did a really great job of spreading out the different types of things I was doing until I ran out of content. Right? So then I realized, I was like, oh my goodness, I created all these great quote images and I ate them all up in like 3 weeks. It wasn't sustainable. Okay, so then I started sort of relooking at it and I slowed things down. One strategy that I've worked in is the shout outs for other people, right? So especially on Instagram there, I do a lot of that. Not a lot, I do 3 a week where I'm shouting out different accounts. And sometimes the same accounts more than once. Like I'm not fussy about it. It's if they're doing good posts and the pictures are nice and they're actually saying something and they've got some engagement. I don't care what size the account is. It just depends on the quality of the account. So, so that's an example though, where I had to rethink it because I couldn't sustain it. Same thing happened with my articles. And I'll admit, I fell off the wagon again here. I was doing awesome. I had all my articles planned out as I, encourage other people to do. Batch create, plan it out. The step you must not miss is knowing when that schedule runs out. So yeah, I missed it. My content was lined up and ready, and then I ran out of articles and I didn't have any more created. So I've had 2 weeks here where I haven't posted a fresh blog on my author's site, which is terrible. I'm really annoyed at myself for that because I know better, right? But life happens. So prime example of life is going to happen. So schedule yourself, plan it out, know in advance, what you're going to do and know when that's going to run out and give yourself time, so that's a really important thing. So basically that's all I kind of wanted to touch on, because it was a really great question that I was asked, and I'm working on some materials to sort of help dive a little bit deeper on that side of it. But as far as, what do you really need to know and what kind of a time schedule are you looking at with all of it? That's pretty much what I'm saying is first do a real assessment of where you are at. What do you already have? And then from there, that's what I'm going to create is sort of the outline type of thing, a bit of a flow chart maybe of basically what all the possibilities are. And I'm a little I'm nervous of doing it. Simply because I don't want to overwhelm people, because a lot of people, they'll see all of these different pieces that they can be doing and they'll suddenly think they have to be doing them. So I will be repeating myself a lot that you don't have to do all this stuff. These are just the options. But once you know that big picture and then you look at what you already have and what you're already doing, that's how you can then figure out what you're missing and what fits for you, right? So again, when on the social media side, don't try to do it all. Right? It makes no sense to do it all. You need to take a closer look at each of the platforms and determine which are the best for you. Which reminds me, it's another article I'm in the middle of, and I told Dana that I was working on, as far as, what are the different social medias and, what the different social medias are and what they're best for, what their target audiences are, and that sort of thing. I am working on that, so I apologize that I haven't put that out there just yet, but I am working on it. And I may even actually just do a Facebook Live on it rather than a full article, because it is actually a little bit easier to just kind of talk through some of them. But we'll see. I'll plan that one out. But yeah, taking a look at what those are and deciding which ones really do make most sense for you. Okay. That will make a big difference. My battery on my phone is low, go figure. All right. So that's how you kind of look at it. Okay. So the big picture, what are all the possibilities? What have you already got? And then out of that, pick what makes the most sense for you and then schedule it out. But don't feel like you have to do it overnight, and focus on one thing at a time. Okay, there's some areas where there's overlap, but for the most part, focus on one thing and do that really, really well before you try to add in another one. Okay, and that will help with your sustainability, and only ever work on what you can realistically sustain for a longer period of time. All right, guys, so that's my advice. And now I'm going to go hang out with my kiddlywinks. And yeah, I don't get any more prezzies because I already got my prezzies, but that's okay because I was a spoilt girl. But she does have chocolate up there, so I was going to go get me some chocolate. Have an awesome weekend, guys, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.